Well, hello there, my friends. Hope this day finds you safe, healthy, happy, and thriving, enjoying whatever you're doing, enjoying your life, just being grateful for being alive, just living your best life, whatever that looks like, however that feels, and whatever it is you do, whatever endeavors you endeavor to do. Hope you're enjoying yourself and having a good time. This is the New Thought Media Network. I'm Ken Ludwig. You are watching The Vibrant Living. And as always, we're going to start with a little reading from this thing called You. And we will just part the book right here. Interesting. This is a book that I don't have highlighted. And you can see that I have plenty of sticky note flags. And the highlighting is throughout the whole book. But here we go. That which I seek is seeking me. That which belongs to me will come to me. Since it is my desire that only good, truth, love, wisdom, and power shall go from me, I know this is all that can come back to me. The kingdom of God is within and around me. I know that the power of the living spirit exists at the center of my being. So it is. He says then, after that particular quote there, he says, now think of some desire that you have and say, it is done unto me. And so it is. There's a quote I've been using in my affirmations every morning. I can manifest anything I want. If I desire it, I will have it. That is my firm belief, and I stand by it. That's a great affirmation. I love that. You have to excuse me a little bit today. Just before the show started, I had a big old sneeze, and a direct result of the fact that here in North Carolina, there is always something blooming somewhere, and there is more pollen in the air than you can shake a stick at. And my seasonal allergies have been going, oh, really? This is interesting. But anyway, so here I am, sniffling away. I've been talking a lot about this great book, You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought by Peter McWilliams. And I just noticed today, at the bottom of it, it says, a book for people with any life-threatening illness, and he has any in caps, a book for people with any life-threatening illness, including life. Because we know, right, life is one thing for certain, it's always terminal. So from the minute we're born till the very end, we're just pretty much moving our way through life to the dying part. So so life is a terminal illness, and this book is it's amazing. And I think I mentioned before that I had read it many, many years ago. The book was written in 1988 or 89. I read it, I'm pretty sure back in the 90s, actually. But I never finished it, and I didn't realize that until I was reading through the book, and I found my bookmark at page 329. It's like, wow, that's as far as I got. It's almost 600 pages. So I just finished it this morning, and I finished it. The last chapter is actually called Loving, and it is, oh, come on now, fumble fingers. It ends on page, let me see if I get this right. The book ends on page, literally ends at page, not numbered, of course, 534. But then it continues on. There's another piece for another 70 or so pages that are like excerpts from other books that he had written. And it's very good. And it's I just read a couple of paragraphs actually, but it's a great take on in the back of the book. Here are 70 pages of just other stuff, other things. But I wanted to read from that last chapter, the loving chapter, and he starts every chapter. Every chapter pretty much has a quote. Most of them are literary. Some of them are actually from people in the arts, from Hollywood and those kinds of things. But lots of things from Stoicism, which surprised me, and lots of biblical quotes. This one is from 1 Corinthians 13, and I think it, at least at the end of this, a lot of people will recognize this. It's a rather long quote, so bear with me. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, And if I have a faith that can move mountains but have not love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. I absolutely love that. It's just, and I'll give you a little bit more because I think it's very important. There are three magic words in healing. I love you. When you say them, when you say them to others or to ourselves, all are healed. He says, I prefer the word loving to love. Loving includes the action necessary to bring about the qualities of love. Love is nice, of course, but love in action gets a lot more done. Loving feels wonderful, but it's more than just a feeling. Loving is a choice. We choose to be loving toward ourselves and others. This moment we choose, the next moment we choose again. We always have a choice. Life is just a continuing series of choices, and we live by virtue of the choices that we have made over the course of time. Because every moment is a manifested moment. So whatever choices I make in this moment, I manifest something from it somewhere along the line. It reminds me of the quote that Marianne Williamson uses all the time. I believe it's from A Course in Miracles, that says everything is either an expression of love or a call to love. And I like the fact that he uses the word loving in that same sense in here. I think do you choose the joy of loving, or do you choose the quagmire of negative thinking? And I love the idea that he refers to loving, that is loving makes love a verb for sure, because there is that sense of doing it, as he said, love in action. I recently got a text message from someone who has been near and dear to me for 45 years. And that person in the text message said to me, at a very young age, I learned that there is no such thing as love or forgiveness. And I was blown away, and I was hurt, and I was deeply saddened by the thought that is what this person believes, because it's someone very close to me. And I realized, it's really funny that then, several days later, I read this chapter in the book, but I realized then that love and forgiveness, for someone to say they learned at a young age that there is no such thing as love and forgiveness, what a sad commentary that is on self-reflection, because love and forgiveness are not some things out here or out there or over yonder. Love and forgiveness they're heartfelt. They're from within. They're only from within. You can't have forgiveness over there. You can't have love over there. You can only have love from your heart. You can only forgive from your heart. Whether that forgiveness entails forgiving someone else, forgiving a group of people, forgiving yourself, whatever that is, that comes from here. So love and forgiveness not only is a heartfelt thing, and for this person to say they learned a long time ago that there's no such thing, unfortunately, that person has never, ever managed to have that heart-centered feeling of love and forgiveness towards self or towards others. And that's sad. And part of that, without giving away too much, I think part of that is I might be responsible for that person feeling this way. And I don't know how responsible I can possibly be for someone else's lack of understanding in love and forgiveness coming from within. There is a deeper sense in that book. Again, that piece at the bottom that I just noticed today, a book for people with any life-threatening illness, including life. at his last chapter is called Loving, as I mentioned. And what he's talking about is loving everything. Just like we talk all the time about having gratitude for everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We need to love everything. Also, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And in the particular case of the ugly, he refers to life-threatening illnesses. Any illness, any dis-ease, any discomfort, whatever it is, love it. I remember an old story, and I have no idea how true it is, but the story goes that there was a woman in the Agape international community out in California, Michael Beckwith's church, and there was a lady in that community who was having kidney issues, and Beckwith implored everyone to go home and love their own kidneys, feel and express love for their own kidneys. And the result was that the woman's kidney ailment was healed. I believe that if we're going to have gratitude for everything in order so that we can appreciate all that happens in our lives and make room for more things to be grateful for, I believe the same thing has got to be true for love, because love is a much bigger, stronger emotion. And if we can be loving towards our ailments, then perhaps there's a curative factor there. In the great scheme of neuroscience and the neuroplasticity of the brain, excuse me, we can certainly connect the dots that in the sense of neuroplasticity, if there is a belief in ailment, a belief in illness, a belief in a diagnosis, then there can just as easily be a reversal of that belief into loving what it is that is ailing us and loving it back into health. I actually, this morning, I kind of, after my meditation is when I read the book, and I revisited my meditation and loved the things that are going on in my body physically, so that I can feel that I am loving things back into whatever health there is. You know, I've talked many, many times about my favorite book, the Growing Bolder, and the fact that in that book, Mark Middleton, I believe his name is, who wrote it, he talks about the idea that as we grow older, Mother Nature takes things away from us. Aging takes things away from us, some abilities, some agilities, and we need to learn to embrace and love our lives as they are, without whatever those things were that we no longer have as part of who our makeup, and not be regretful, not be mad, not be disengaged, not be what's the word I'm really looking for here? Not feel like, oh well, it's over. You know I've told the story before about when I was diagnosed a couple of years ago with degenerative disc disease. And I immediately went about researching and doing things differently, and different exercises and different meditations as far as concentrating on the discs in my spine. And my doctor told me point blank twice. She said, your proactive approach and your attitude are going to make all the difference in the world, because she said she gives out that diagnosis all the time, because she kind of specialized in older adults. She gave that diagnosis out all the time, and people kind of threw up their hands and gave up. That they would just go retire to the couch and wait for the Grim Reaper, I guess. I've always said, I'm going to go kicking and freaking screaming is how I'm going out. I'm not going to grow old gracefully, and I'm not going to go quietly into the dark. I'm just going to absolutely rage against the night, and I am going to work as hard as I can, doing whatever I can, exercise, diet, whatever it takes to keep myself as healthy as I can for as long as I can. The idea is to die young as late as possible. That's kind of my thing. Right now, here's and let me give you a little story here about what's going on. I had discovered here in lovely Mocksville, North Carolina, the most rural setting I've ever lived in my life, perhaps the most rural setting I've ever visited in my life. And in downtown Mocksville, which is about 6 miles away from our house, there is a senior center, and the senior center has a very modest little gym. They have a room with, I think 4 or 5 treadmills, which I don't do. They have a room with 4 weight machines that give you, I don't know, they show you maybe, I don't know, half a dozen exercises or 7 that you can do on those machines. I actually, because I know what I'm doing, with lifting weights and stuff all my life, I can do 14 different exercises on these 4 machines, which I do all the time. And then they have a room with 2 spinning machines, 2 sit down ellipticals, and a stand-up elliptical. I don't do the stand-up elliptical because of the thing with my back. I do the sit-down elliptical for 30 minutes to warm myself up and get myself going. Then I go into the weight room or into the weight machines, and I work on them for an hour, more or less, 45 minutes, and then stretch and go home. And it's been really, really good for me. I've gotten myself in better shape than I've been in since I moved to North Carolina. I feel really good. I feel really strong. I've now kind of backed off a little bit and do just this week. I do a little bit less intensity as far as the lifting goes, because I was doing all 4 machines, all 14 exercises to as much weight as I could, more or less, for the first many weeks I did it. Now I think I've put on 3 or 4 pounds of muscle. That's the good news. The interesting news is I haven't lost any weight, which is one of the things I was doing this for, was to lose some weight. And I have actually gained that 3 or 4 pounds of muscle. I have gained in weight. I now weigh 185 pounds when my target was more like 172. So now it's interesting to see, where do I go from here, and how do I take my training, my knowledge, the things that I've been doing for God only knows how many years, for going up for a little over a dozen years now. I've been teaching people and walking people through dietary, nutritional, and cleansing and fat loss protocols, or weight loss protocols, and so I have a pretty good idea how to do all that. In fact, there was a guy I met at the senior center, really nice guy. His name is Dan. Dan is like, wow. Here's a story for you. This guy was in the Marines. He's 10 years younger than me. He was in the Marines. He was at Camp Lejeune. Now that if you do a little research, you'll find out. Camp Lejeune basically poisoned a couple of generations of Marines with absolutely toxic drinking water. And at one point said there were like, 3 chemicals in there, and they monitored it all the time to make sure they weren't bad. But now there's more like 70 chemicals, and there's everything imaginable in there, including Agent Orange, which shouldn't have even existed, except that there was a whoever made Agent Orange, which I believe was Monsanto, or it might have been one of the companies that Monsanto absorbed or bought, but they were making Agent Orange in other places, and I guess one of them was a factory upriver from Camp Lejeune. So there was Agent Orange in the water. Anyway, he's had just myriad health issues. And again, he's 10 years younger than me. I feel really bad for the guy. He's like 5'5", 5'6", weighs 262 pounds. And he was, when I first met him, he was weighing in closer to 270, and he was stuck like 268, I think. And he was stuck at 268. And he saw what kind of shape I was in. And he asked me, I'm trying to lose the weight, and I lost a bunch of weight. He lost over 30 pounds, but I'm stuck. I can't lose any more weight. So I asked him what he was eating, and he was not eating enough food for his body to feel satisfied, in any way, shape, or form. In fact, what I told him was, your body is now gone into starvation mode, and you're not going to lose any more weight, because it is holding on to fat and water to preserve itself to use in case of no more food coming in. So what I would suggest is increase your food intake, increase your caloric intake substantially for a week. Well, I saw him then after that week. He did it. He went home and did it. And he came back, and he's like, you know what? I gained all the way back up to 268. I said, wow, that's a lot of weight to gain, really, to gain that quickly. Not up to 260. I'm sorry. It was over 270. And I said, did you go back to the lower caloric intake? He said, yes. Blah, blah, blah. I saw him, today's Thursday. I saw him yesterday. And he said that I was right, that he increased the caloric intake. He gained the weight, but he immediately lost that weight and then lost another 6 pounds. He's got a hip replacement coming up, and he can't get the hip replacement done until he gets down to 254. So he's got 8 more pounds to go, but he felt like he was on track, and he gave me credit for the knowledge. So now I'm thinking to myself, if that's what I told him, now I got to adjust my diet, because if the exercise alone is not helping me to lose the weight I want to lose, if I'm only gaining weight, now I need to go in the other direction. Without question, at 72 years old, I know that I'm walking around with a bunch of adipose and visceral fat around my middle that I need to get rid of. It's the unhealthiest fat you can possibly have. And I know that's where all my fat is, because to be honest with you, I don't have any fat anywhere else except around my middle. That's what happens when you're a 72-year-old guy. So anyway, that's some of what's going on in my world. And part of what I learned this morning from the book was I want to love that excess fat in my body. I want to love it into going away. By the way, I can see you folks are watching. I have a little thing here that tells me folks are watching. It tells me where you're watching from. And I can see a couple of them watching from New Thought Media. If you, I think you guys can comment. If you've got a question or you want to make a comment, please be my guest. I'd love to hear from you and hear what you have to say. So yeah, I want to just go back. I want to suggest this book to everyone. This is really, he talks about the effect of our thoughts on disease processes, on our health issues. And he talks about that, but he never, ever, ever totally focuses the book on that. He focuses on negative thinking, how it affects our overall lives, our overall existence, and how, I'll tell you what, you read that book and you are going to find that you think negatively way, way more of the time than you would ever admit, or that you would ever believe if someone else told you. I'm blown away, flabbergasted by the negative thoughts that I have every single day of my life. It's mind-boggling how much negative thinking goes on. Now, of course, we know, again, go back to what I said a little earlier about neuroplasticity. We know we can change that anytime we choose. And it is a choice to decide that I'm not going to allow negative thinking anymore. I have an old thing I used to do in my workshop, in my Rewire Your Brain workshop, that I called Catch and Correct. It's something that's my own construct. Catch and Correct is really simple. I'm going to eliminate the negative thinking that has been a part of my life for, who knows, all 72 years. Excuse me, once again, that's seasonal allergies, man. A little coughing, a little sneezing, a little sniffling. Can't beat it here in North Carolina. What was I saying? I'm not going to have any more negative thinking. I'm going to eliminate negative thinking from my life. If I make that decision, that doesn't make negative thinking go away. But the next time I have negative thinking, I catch myself and I say, you know what? I had promised I was going to eliminate this from my life, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do better next time, and then move on. Now, using an affirmation can help that a little, maybe a little prayer work, maybe a little breath work. Different things can help you to kind of anchor that thought. But what you've done now is you've caught yourself doing it, and you've corrected it, and you corrected it gently, not in that old way of going, oh, you piece of crap, you screwed up. You said you weren't going to think negatively, and now you thought negatively, and you're such a loser and such a waste and blah, 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 blah. No, don't do that. That's not catch and correct. That's catch and beat up. What we want to do is catch and correct ourselves gently and just affirm that we will do better next time. Let me have a little sip of water here. So that's it for me today. That's what I've got for you. I want you to always remember, don't ever, ever, ever let it leave your mind that New Thought Media Network is a nonprofit organization, and we thrive on your donations. So please go to ntmedia.org, newthoughtmedia.org. Click on donate. We're thrilled to get whatever you deign to give us, whatever floats your boat. You'll take 5 cents, we'll take $5, we'll take 500. Whatever you got, we're glad to have it, and we are grateful beyond belief. Of course, those of you who watch the show know that HempWorks is my sponsor. HempWorks.com/Ken Ludwig is my page where you can go and find out all you want to find. the largest, most extensive collection of CBD and hemp-infused products in the world from the #1 distributor, direct-to-consumer distributor of CBD products in the world. You're going to find the greatest selection that you'll find anywhere. We have the best tinctures available, purest, cleanest, most potent tinctures you will find. I hate to keep saying it over and over again, but anywhere on the planet. It is the processing that we use that keeps no chemicals in there. There's no foreign substances whatsoever. Every single batch of CBD is charted or tracked from seed to soil to oil, and third-party validated, so that we always know that you are getting exactly what it is we say you're getting. You're going to find Full Spectrum, which is the full spectrum CBD has the legal limit of 0.3% THC in it. Should be virtually undetectable in any tests or that you might take for work or anything else. But in case you're worried about it, we have Broad Spectrum. Broad Spectrum is 100% THC free, so there is nothing to detect in there. We have all of them, in both of them, Full Spectrum and Broad Spectrum, in 500 milligram, 750 milligram, and 1500 milligram concentrations in 7 different flavors. So, I mean, you can experiment. You can do whatever you want. We have treats for your dogs. We have shampoo. We have skin creams. We have topicals for your for pain relief. We have you name it. We have coffee. I drink the coffee on the show quite often. 5 milligrams of CBD in a coffee blend with some chaga mushroom in there, I believe, also, and it's very, very, very good and literally good for you. So everything you could possibly imagine, and by the way, the HempWorks brand is part of the house of brands, which is My Daily Choice. MyDailyChoice.com/Ken Ludwig. You go to that page, you will find 10 different brands, soon to be 40 or 50 different brands with name brand companies from around the globe actually applying to be part of our platform. That's going to be a big deal. It's called the MDC Marketplace, and that is going to change the face of network marketing. Speaking of which, if you know anyone who is looking for a side gig, a side hustle, a full-time income, My Daily Choice is not only a network marketing company, but it's also created a structure that can be used as a pure affiliate marketing company, getting paid a whole hell of a lot more than you're going to get paid being an affiliate for Amazon or Walmart. Don't even like to say that word, but any of those other places, you get nickels and dimes to be an affiliate for them. This pays real money to be an affiliate. You want to find me? You can find me on Instagram at evolving_hippie. You can find me and my beloved Lisa on our branded Facebook page, which is called Vibrant Aging, which of course goes hand in hand right here with Vibrant Living. If you want to email me, find me at teamrockitnow@gmail.com. Put this back up again. Donate to New Thought Media, ntmedia.org. Click on donate, and we'll be, just like I said, thrilled beyond belief for anything and everything that you decide you will donate to us. Like I said, that's all I got today. As always, I am immensely grateful for the great gift of your time and your attention. I wish you all the love and all the blessings the universe has to offer. I hope you will join me next Thursday at the very same time, 4 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Mountain. Until then, my friends, have a fabulous rest of your day, and namaste.